Hmm.
Dr. Ahmed,
Yes, sir.
did you check that YouTube is live?
Yes, sir. Just I'm checking. Jagda,
Can
how many?
Yes, sir.
can
YouTube is
someone
live.
confirm that it is live so that we
Yeah,
can
yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
get
YouTube is
started?
live. Yeah, sir. YouTube is live.
Dr.
How
Ahmed,
many are live, Jagda? Just tell. Yes, sir. Just
Sir.
let us know.
did you check that YouTube is live?
Yeah, yeah, sir. Working.
Yes, sir.
Live.
Just
It
I'm
is live.
checking. Jagda,
Can
how many?
Yes, sir.
can
YouTube is
someone
live.
confirm that it is live so that we
Yeah,
can
yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
get
YouTube is
started?
live. Yeah, sir. YouTube is live.
We can check the viewers also.
Dr.
How many
Ahmed,
are
Oh,
the number of viewers? Just tell. Yes, sir.
oh,
Just let us know.
did you check that YouTube is live?
yeah, sir. Working.
Yes, sir.
Live.
Just
It
I'm
is live.
checking. Jagda,
Can
how
someone
many?
Yes, sir.
can
YouTube is
someone
live.
confirm that it is live so that we
Yeah,
can
yeah, sir.
get
YouTube is
started?
live. Yeah, sir. YouTube is live.
We can check the viewers also. Count is 54, so give a reminder, na, ki, let us know. Give a
Did you check
reminder on the
that
group.
YouTube is live?
Yeah, sir. Working.
Yes, sir.
Live.
Just
It
I'm
is live.
checking. Jagda,
Can
how many?
someone
Yes, sir.
can
YouTube is
someone
live.
confirm that it is live so that we
Yeah,
can? But it
yeah,
is
sir. Yeah, sir.
streaming there,
YouTube is
right,
live.
on
Yes, sir.
YouTube?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
YouTube is live. And if hi Sonam,
Hi there.
hi Sonam, is it possible for the presenter to have his screen share so that we can confirm whether the screen is appearing like on the stream
Okay,
on YouTube? So that would be nice,
sounds
like
good.
whoever is presenting. Yeah.
Okay, let me just then share my screen and see if that's going to show up for you guys.
Before Migdad does that, by the way, there is some lag going on YouTube. Because the way we are talking here, it's a little off on YouTube, from what I can say.
Yes,
I
YouTube
see.
will go live. YouTube will lag for some seconds. Matlab,
Okay, as long as it's okay, then yeah,
yeah.
we can continue. Migdad, could you share your screen, please?
Sure.
Is it in sync on YouTube, Dr. Ahmed? Can someone confirm that we are seeing that stream?
Yes, we are seeing the stream on YouTube as well.
Yes, sir. Screen is visible on YouTube. Just I have also checked.
Okay, so I think it's a 9:05. Sonam, you can take it over right away with. You can start with giving a brief introduction about AiXplain, and then with that, can take it over for the
Jagda,
presentation, right? That would be nice.
can you turn on the? Actually, it is on the YouTube, na? So recording की जरूरत नहीं है. Okay.
Yeah. Great. So I think we can get started. And yeah, welcome everyone. We are here with Anjuman College and all the faculty and the participants, and my co-worker here are Migdad and Noor will be joining in soon as well. We are going to start with where Migdad starts with the brief introduction to explain, and what the onboarding process is going to look like, and he will walk you through the platform, and Noor will also give you some quick demo about how you can use the SDK and the studio as well. I'm going to let Mikdad take over.
All right. Can everybody hear me well?
Yep.
Great. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Mikdad Dali. I am a product manager at AiXplain. And right now, I will be walking you through a quick introduction about the platform, who we are, what we do, how you are going to be using us throughout this hackathon, and giving you a technical onboarding and a demo of the platform. Sounds good?
Great.
All right.
Yes.
So the agenda right now, first of all, I'm going to give an AiXplain introduction of the company itself. Then I'm going to give you an overview of the platform that you, I hope that all of you enjoy using. Then I'm going to talk about solution architecture on AiXplain, and that is what primarily is the objective from the hackathon, is that we are trying to have people learn about AI solution architecture particularly. Then we're going to cover different types of AI solutions. 5, we're going to talk about AI agents. What are AI agents, and how is AiXplain right now revolutionizing the AI agent space? And then lastly, we're going to wrap up with the onboarding and building a generative AI solution using AiXplain. So to give an introduction about AiXplain, in a nutshell, we are an end-to-end AI solution development platform with an integrated marketplace. So one of the things that we have is the ability to utilize models that are both open source and proprietary, and to use them in unison together to build AI solutions end to end. So we are on a mission to make AI available, usable, adaptable, and understandable. To go over the platform and what is the toolkit of the platform, the first thing that I just mentioned, I said AiXplain is an AI solution development platform with an integrated marketplace. Discover is that integrated marketplace. We have over 40,000 AI models, some of which are private to some teams that have those assets sitting. We have models that you would find that are open source, so models that you would see, for example, on Hugging Face and other open source platforms. And we have specialized commercial models like AWS models or OpenAI models, for example. Design is our canvassing tool that allows you to build AI solutions by dragging and dropping components, connecting a compound and building a compound AI system. I will get to what a compound AI system in a minute. But this allows you to go from just a simple model that takes an input and gives an output to adding more logic to a more versatile solution that you are building. And lastly, the solution itself is deployed into a single endpoint that then you can utilize and call within your application. Benchmark is our model evaluation tool that allows you to generate a very, very extensive report that allows you to extract valuable insights about the model's performance, the latency, the quality, and other metrics that you can specify. So you can either monitor your own model, or you would find what would be the best model for your own particular use case or data set. We have then fine-tune, which allows you to customize a pre-trained model. So let's say, for example, you have you would like to use a model that is very generic, but you want it to be specialized to a certain type of data. Let's say an example, medical data for your own solution. You're able to take this pre-trained generic model and tune it with medical data to increase the performance of that model for this particular type of data. And all of that, of course, is through our very nice no-code, low-code platform that will assist you throughout the entirety of using all of those tools and use cases. So let's talk about solution architecture. What is AI solution architecture? So AI solution architecture is the design and organization of systems and components that utilize AI. So if you have a business problem, that business problem, you would present it to an AI solution architect, and the AI solution architect will know what are the tools and the assets that needs to be used, how they should be connected and integrated with each other, and they would work to deliver an AI solution for that. So if you're talking about what is the certain skills that would make a great AI solution architect, we would, of course, start with problem solving. They have a problem that they need to solve. data engineering, programming, system design and architecture. So those things you would actually generally find in, very great computer scientists and computer engineers. Business and operational understanding, because you are solving a real world problem, this is a very important skill set to have. Ethics and compliance, which is very big in AI, to understand the usage of the data, how, the governance, where is your data stored. The ethics component of AI is very important. And lastly, staying up to date. Because there are new models and new technologies that are emerging every day, it is very important to be, as a good AI solution architect, to be up to date, to know which would be the best kind of model to use for a particular use case. So if we take an AI model, usually how an AI model would work is takes an input, gives you an output. In the context of image generation, you give it text, it gives you an image as an output. An example of that would be DALL-E or Stable Diffusion. So if I were to prompt it to say, give me an image of a cat wearing sunglasses, it would generate that image for me. When we're talking about AI pipelines, it's more this is where the concept of compound AI systems come. So we have different models that are connected to each other on a certain logic, where you're building that connection between those different components and different nodes to solve more complex problems. So you can see here at the bottom, there is an example of a dubbing system where I can take audio in one language and give audio out in a different language. So here you see audio goes into the speech recognition. It goes, the output would be the text. That text is later fed to a translation system to change the language to another. And the output would be text from that. And that text is later fed to a speech synthesis model or a text-to-speech model, and the output will be audio. So building a pipeline or a compound AI system is fundamentally about the conversion of one modality or data type to another to build a path between the inputs and the outputs to solve a business problem. If we take monolithic models, those are models that, you train a model, it's deployed, it's working just fine. It has certain limitations with it. So first of all, it's limited knowledge. If we're talking in the context of an LLM or a large language model, the large language model would not know information that is outside of the data that it was trained on. So it has that kind of limited knowledge capacity. Second thing, it's very hard to debug. If you want to understand why a model is behaving a certain way, it's a hassle. In a lot of cases, you need to kind of retrain the entirety of the model to do it. It's very hard to adapt. So if you want a new data source to be added to this model, you have to fine-tune the entirety of the model with the new data, or again, retrain the entirety of the model. And lastly, lower reliability. LLMs particularly, they are kind of prone to hallucinations and other forms of reliability issues with utilizing monolithic models. The other types of systems would be compound AI systems, where you are not particularly just using one model where you feed it an input and it gives you an output, and it's kind of a black box inside. It's more around like plugging in components. Each component has a particular task and function, and that component delivers the output to a different component. So a pipeline, if you may. This example, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the concept of RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. That is a prime example of a compound AI system. If I were to build an AI solution, for example, to answer me questions about medical information, I would need to train that model with medical data, and then I would have that model and I would be able to use it. But if I have newer documents that I want to train this model with, or newer information, I'm going to have to do that again. What the retrieval augmented generation is, you have two main components of it. You have the information retrieval part, which is kind of a component by itself that allows you to build this database that you're able to retrieve information from. So that database is an external database. It is adaptable. You can actually add documents to it. It sits outside of the model particularly. And the second part is the generative part, which is where you would put the model to just present the answers to the client. So here in this context, the user asks a query. The query goes to the information retrieval system or the knowledge base, and it retrieves the relevant answers, gives it to the LLM. The LLM will generate the answers. So it's in a question answering perspective, this approach is more modular. So if something goes wrong, let's say the LLM is not reliable, I can just simply take that LLM out and plug it right back in, and my system will remain intact. It's easier to adapt. It's cheaper I don't have to retrain the system altogether from start. And lastly, it's more reliable. So this is what AiXplain is doing really, really well right now. When I introduced design to you earlier, design is a canvassing tool that allows you to build those complex AI, those compound AI systems very, very, very easily. So if you talk about what is the future of generative AI or AI in general, we are noticing that a lot of our users on AiXplain, they put large language models inside their pipelines as the central part, or that intelligence of the pipeline. And that is great, and we are seeing a lot of great ideas and use cases that are coming out of that. Now, the future is saying, why not have the large language model or the form of intelligence within my solution be more adaptable and sitting kind of wrapped around my solution. So here's where the concept of agents is introduced. Agents are autonomous systems that use AI to perceive environments and make decisions to perform specific tasks, continuously learning and adapting based on their interactions. If we talk about the agentic framework, we have kind of 4 main components of it. We have the memory, planning, tools, and actions. I'll get to each one of them in just a minute. To give you an example of an agentic solution, let's say that I want to, one of the things in my solution is a calculator to make very fundamental 1 + 1, 2 + 2 operations. Now, an AI large language model can be used to answer those questions. So if you go to, for example, GPT or any of the large language models out there, you would say, what's 1 + 1? It will be able to, based on the training data, say, okay, I've seen that 1 + 1 = 2, so it will give you the answer is 2. Now, what if I said, hey, GPT, or hey, large language model, whenever you are faced with a mathematical operation, I do not want you to do the operation yourself. I want you to call this endpoint or this API, or I'll teach you how to use this calculator. And then you can just simply go and use the calculator for any calculation you have. This allows the model or the system itself to be cheaper. I don't have to run the entirety of the very large language model to get this 1 + 1 = 2. It's going to be faster. It's going to be more reliable. If something breaks, if I say 1 + 1 = 3, for example, I would understand that the mistake is with that part, the calculator part. I don't have to retrain the entirety of the model. So I'll give you an example of an agentic framework in the context of banking, for example. If somebody comes to a bank and says, I see a transaction that I did not authorize, and it presents that to the agent. The agent first has that memory part, and that memory would include the customer profile, previous disputes, transaction history, the chat history. So the chat history in this context will be the short-term memory. I'm talking to this human. And the long-term memory will be all of the other pieces of information. Then the planning, the agent itself, the main kind of why we are using the agent, because we noticed that large language models are really, really good at reasoning, at giving you, here are steps to solve a problem. So we are only using the large language model to give us the steps, and then we're giving the LLM the tools to utilize them to solve that problem. So in the LLM's head, it would say, I need to verify the transaction, then I need to study the past incidents, then I need to verify the customer, and it puts them in a systematic order, and it self-reflects and self-improves the process as it goes forward. And what would be the tools that I would give this agent? I would say, here's your chat interface that you can call. Here is the fraud hotline that if you notice that this is a fraudulent kind of case, you would connect with them. You can dispute the transaction as an agent, or you can connect with a human agent. And this is what's fascinating about agents, is one of the tools that you can put at the LLM's agent disposal is an actual human. So if an agent doesn't know how to solve the problem, it says, here, human, help me, which even allows them to be more and more reliable, because then they can learn from that human interaction itself. And as an action for the LLM, I want to respond to the client. So I have the chat interface, which is my tool to respond to the client. I can escalate to the fraud department. So I would have an API just to say, hey, I'm flagging this as a fraudulent kind of incident. Or I can resolve it with a human. It's one of the actions that you give the agent the jurisdiction to perform. So this is an example of an agentic system being built. I'm not using the LLM to kind of answer any questions or to use any of its internal knowledge. All I want the LLM is to know, similar to how a human would, what tools that I need to use to solve this problem for the client. So we are kind of getting closer to mimicking actual humans and how they are perceiving and dealing with problems that they are solving. And with AiXplain right now, we are introducing the ability for you to build your own custom agents using our platform. So an agent can be connected to a pipeline, and this is something we have on AiXplain right now, where you can agentify a pipeline. It can it can be connected to a model, it can be connected to a database, systems, other humans, as I just mentioned. And the beauty about it, here it is, you can actually connect agents to other agents. So one of the tools that you can put at an agent's disposal is another agent that it calls, and that agent has its own network of other agents, which actually, the possibilities can be endless once you think about the use cases that you would be uncovering with agents. So, and that will be the interface between the human. So we are going from sequential kind of systems or pipelines to more of an agentic solution, which both of them are compound systems in a way, but they have a different kind of way of their architecture fundamentally. Now, on AiXplain, we have actually built our own agent. It is called Bellesprit. It is, as an AI company that does AI solution development, one of the things that we said maybe we can agentify is AI solution architecture. Hey, what if I present a problem to this AI agent, and then it's able to convert that into a solution and build it for me? So if we talk about the AiXplain ecosystem, the user comes and says to Bellesprit, hey, here's my business problem. Bellesprit would then utilize the different tools at its disposal, the ones that I just presented to you, the marketplace, the design to be able to connect pipeline, the agentic framework even. And it will also call all of that will be the AiXplain platform, which is integrated with Bellesprit as the tools under Bellesprit's disposal. And if it doesn't know let's say that a model is not available, or the solution itself is too complex for Bellesprit to handle. Bellesprit can actually go to a human, which is also one of the tools at Bellesprit's disposal, and say, hey, human, I have this problem. How can I solve it? So then the Bellesprit will reach out to AiXplain's network of solution architects, and then those solution architects will use the underlying AiXplain platform to solve this problem for the user, and then it can send that to the end customer. So this is an example where how an agent is plugged into an operation in the context of AI solution architecture. It's like Inception. We have agents that are building agents. Or we have internal channels that clients can reach out to us directly, where we would connect the user to our network of AI solution experts to solve that business problem for them. So here's a demo of Bellesprit in action.
In this video, I'll be showing you how to create an app that takes videos and creates text and audio summaries for them in different languages using Bellesprit. First, I'll describe my problem to Bellesprit using natural language. In this case, I would like to create an app that takes English videos and creates text and audio summaries of those videos in English, French, and Arabic. Bellesprit will then begin asking questions to ensure that the data is accurate and it understood the requirements. Bellesprit then gives a final rundown before proceeding to build my solution. I can then use Bellesprit to test my solution.
Today we're going to see how bullet resistant the Cybertruck really is. We have tiny 22 bullets all the way up to a 50.
L'utilisateur teste la résistance aux balles du Cybertruck en commençant par un Glock 19, une
The user is testing the bullet resistance of the Cybertruck, starting with a Glock 19, a 9mm handgun.
يختبر المستخدم مقاومة الرصاص لسايبر تراك بدءا من كلوك 19 وهو
The solution is then saved into my assets and can be integrated anywhere via a single API endpoint.
Awesome. So you have seen how Bellesprit is kind of used, where I just talk to Bellesprit. I'm like, I want a solution that summarizes videos for me. And then it kind of went, as a solution architect, said, here are the different components that I need, build them at the logic to be a video summarizer, and delivered it for me. So just a second. Yeah. So right now, as at AiXplain, we are kind of working for our infrastructure will be able to enable you to go from building those pipelines to solve a problem, which is great. Pipelines still are great for a lot of different use cases and tasks, to being able to build self-governing AI agents that will execute tasks on behalf of humans. So now I'm going to take you to the platform, and then I am going to showcase a quick walkthrough of the platform and its capabilities. That will help you also throughout the entirety of your journey during this workshop and hackathon. All right, let me share my other screen. So if you were to go over right now to AiXplain.com and to go to the sign up page, you can just put in your email and you will be here in the platform. So there is no barrier to entry. Anybody is free to or welcome to register to the platform. Now, what you will be welcomed with right here is the dashboard. The dashboard is where all of your assets in terms of files, models, pipelines, data sets, etc. Reside. We have the solutions that you have built and the activity. Now, one thing to note is that AiXplain is a workspace-based platform, which means that we have teams on the platform that allows you to contain all of your work in a certain environment. So right now I am, for example, on Team AiXplain. I want to go to my personal team. And as you can see here, I am going to have separate, let it load. Yeah. Now you can see here I have different assets. I have different credits. I'll touch credits in just a minute. I have my different solutions and my different activity. So what I just mentioned credits, and credits is the kind of consumption system in AiXplain. So when you are using any solution or any model or any pipeline, you are consuming from those credits. So there is no subscription to using the platform itself. And this is what you will be using throughout the hackathon, and we will be providing you with credits to enable you to build those solutions on the platform. All right. So if I were to go to Discover, I mentioned in my presentation earlier, Discover is our AI marketplace of assets. So here you will be welcomed by 38,319 models is what we currently have that are publicly available. You will see each model represented by a card. And over here, you can filter by the supplier of the model, the function of the model. So let's talk, for example, in the realm of text generation or large language models. I can filter by that, and I can see that there are models that are open source. So you see, for example, Llama 3, for those of you who are familiar with Llama 3, is an open source model. We have other models like the GPT models that are commercially used. One thing that's great is you can click on the card itself, and you can see details. So the details will show you the function, the price. So this is what when I say credits, this is what this model will consume in terms of credits when I use it. So the pricing for this model is 1.5 to 2 credits per 1 million tokens. I believe the 1.5 to 2 here reflect the input and the output tokens of the large language model. And here you can see the different parameters of this particular model. I can call this model through an endpoint. So here is my endpoint. It's an AiXplain endpoint, even though this model is hosted with our partners Grok. And it's a Llama 3 model, so I can call it through an AiXplain endpoint. And this goes for all of the models on AiXplain. The nice thing, or the value that you would be getting from using AiXplain, is the ability to have one centralized place where you can call any of those new models that we have. And we continuously ensure that our marketplace is up to date with the latest models available. Now, you may ask, where do I get this access key from? Which I will show you right now. If I were to go to the top right corner, to general settings, to integrations, you will see here that I have these access keys right now, currently for my personal team. You can see my name up here. And let's say I want to create an access key. I can create up to 10 access keys per team. And let me call this hackathon key. And I want to set it to be active for 10 days only. And I create this. And here I don't, the key itself is not exposed, but I can copy it and I can save it somewhere safe. And this is what I'll be using to call this RESTful endpoint. So let me close this, go back to the models. Let me filter by text generation again. Great. So each one, you can actually on a whim just compare all of those different cards against each other. So you can see that GPT-4 is way more expensive than any of those other models. But of course, it comes at a cost of quality itself. You can actually test out the model. So hello, this is a test. So if you don't want to just connect the endpoint and try to run the model in your environment, this is just a playground for you to be able to test models out. So here, GPT-4 has responded to me. All right, let's say that I want to build an audio chatbot application. Like, I give it text, audio in language, and it responds with audio in the same language. So it's an audio conversational chatbot. If I were to go and pick a large language model by itself, it's not going to work. So I need to kind of get a compound AI system that utilizes different components and different models to build the solution for me. So I would love to hear a voice of my chatbot. So let me filter my functions by speech synthesis or text to speech. And I would like my chatbot to be in English. So I can come to the marketplace. I can see all of those different models out there. And one nice thing that you can do is you can collect different models and you can compare them against each other. So when you click compare, I can, hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good time. And if you click on compare, you can see here the name of the model, who is the supplier. So we have 2 AWS models and 1 Google model. You can see the credits. You can see how fast each model is. So I believe the fastest is this AWS model. And you can hear the output.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good time. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good time.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good time.
Great. I honestly like Matthew's voice the most, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on Matthew. And I'm going to, oh, I already have it saved. That's awesome. You can actually save a model. And you can actually come to the Discover Marketplace and filter by the saved models. So here you can see all of the models that I have saved on this team that I want to use in my solutions. Now, if I were to build okay, let me just remove these. I wanted Matthew. If I want to build an audio chatbot application, let me just add this to design to my canvassing tool. So here is my model. I know, like, for this system, as a solution architect, when somebody says, hey, build me an audio chatbot application, in my head, I go like, yeah, audio is going to go in. First, I need this audio to be converted to text. That text will be fed to a large language model for conversation. And then the output from the large language model will be synthesized into an audio. So now I need 3 components. I have one of them here. So let me pull in the speech recognition. And let me pull in a large language model. All right. So you can see here that one of them is kind of populated with the model. The other 2 is not. Let me get an input node and begin connecting my pipeline. So as you're seeing, I'm connecting an input to an output. And here we see edges. Each edge represents the mapping between what is the output. The output from this model is the data. You don't have much parameters. And for here, I want it to be fed to the text input of the text generation model. And I want to put an output node at the end. Let me put another output to each one of those models. So I want you to show you the output for each one of those models. All right, for speech recognition, I like to use Whisper. So I can search just for a Whisper model. Let me populate this with Whisper. And for text generation, let's use GPT-4, for example. So here is the very basic pipeline that I have built. And now what I can do, actually, you can see this pipeline is using Whisper, 2 OpenAI models and 1 AWS model that are connected in unison with each other. Now I can run this pipeline. So let me just audio chatbot app. Saving my pipeline now. And similar to a model, we have a specifications page that shows you details about your pipeline. We have an API integrations tab that similar to how you would call a model on AiXplain, you can call a pipeline as well through a RESTful API. You can select which key to use. And here is a Python snippet from our SDK that you can use to call the model from as a RESTful API endpoint. And here we can try out the pipeline. So I'm going to upload an audio dummy file. So let me try this. Hey, Moxie, how are you doing? Just checking on the chatbot we worked with is called Moxie. So here you can see the output. It said, as an AI, I don't have feelings, but I'm here ready to assist you. How can I help you? You can hear the output.
As an artificial intelligence, I don't have feelings, but I'm here and ready to assist you. How can I help you today?
So I built an AI chatbot application using different components. And let's say that I don't want to use like this voice. So I can click on it. I want to swap it with a different model, and I can go to the marketplace. And let's say that I want to use this Ivy voice. So now I can run it again, and it's going to have a different voice. Let's try something like a different audio file right now. Hey, Moxie, what year was the Mona Lisa painted, and who painted it? All right, so the response, the Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci around the year 3. So this is the text output, and here you can hear the audio output as well.
The Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci around the year 1503.
So you can see that the voice changed through my application, and I was able to do that by just 2 clicks of a button. Now, going over to benchmark, not everybody has, wants this very small comparison of different models. I want like a full report to compare the performance of the different models. So here I can select, actually, let me switch teams to a different team. So here I can go ahead and select a data set. Let me find this translation data set. Let's see translation benchmarking. And I can select the models that are English to Portuguese, because I believe the data set is English to Portuguese. And let me select metrics. Let me select the Comet QE metric, for example. And now I can just configure my pipeline. I don't want, you can specify how many segments you want. You can normalize the text before running the benchmark report, and you can start the benchmarking report. So now for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you how a benchmarking report would look like. It usually takes a couple of minutes, depending on the size of the data set itself and the number of models, how long it would take the benchmarking report. So I will show you a benchmarking report here, anyone. So this is a benchmarking report. I believe it's for large language models. It's using AceGPT, Mixtral 8x7, and JACE 13 billion. You can see here a breakdown of the data set based on the topics. So 50% of the topics of the data set is for science and mathematics, 30% is computer and science, etc. Here we can see a tabular view of the benchmarking report. So you can see the score. So here it was the blue score that was used. Each one of those scores holds something to those who are in the industry for this particular task. So a lot of you might be familiar with the F1, the precision, the recall, the accuracy. Those are the generic metrics that are used for, for classification models, for example. So we do have those, as well as additionally other models that other metrics that are kind of task-specific metrics. So here is the score for the blue score. And here you can see representation of the numbers in a bar plot, and you can convert that to a box plot as well. You can see the cost comparison between the three. This Grok model is self-hosted, so it doesn't cost anything. You can see the latency, bias analysis. So I showed you the topics of the data set, and here you can see what is the bias for each one of the models. So each model is a color here in each one of those topics. You can have 2D plots for cost versus latency, cost versus quality, latency versus quality, and the failure rates to showcase the reliability of the models. Those 2D plots are actually very valuable if you have, let's say that I have 2 models that have the same level of quality. How can I know which one to use? And in this case, you would say, for example, I want whichever is faster. So you can see that they are equal in quality, but one is faster than the other. So you would use that as your choice model of choice. You can even go granular to the segments within the data set itself. So the data set usually for benchmarking has the source, which is the data that you feed it as an input. And you have the reference, which is, we call it the ground truth, which is what humans have approved as, this is the answer to this input, or this is the proper response. And then here you can see the output. So what benchmarking does is it fundamentally compares the model's output to the reference, to the ground truth. So this input is fed to the model, and this is the output. So I believe this was it's utilizing an Arabic language. And here you can see it's comparing it to the reference. The closer the model is to the reference, the better of a score it will get. And here we have diagnostics tab that shows you the impact of each one of those topics on the score for a particular model. So this one is for AiCGPT. Computers and internet topic had a negative impact. Science and mathematics topic had a positive impact on the score for this particular benchmarking run. Lastly, we have fine-tuning. So one of the things that we get is, hey, this model is performing bad right now. I noticed that it's performing bad in my benchmarking run. I want it to be better on my data. So you can actually AiXplain, have a training data that you want the model to perform better at, upload it, and tune a model using. So you would select the data set that you want. Let me select this. Actually, no, let's do text generation, for example. Oh, sorry, this is the model, not the data set. And let me select the data set. So here I'm selecting a data set, and I can configure and start my benchmarking run. So I can do the split between train and dev, for those of you who are familiar with fine-tuning, and I would start my fine-tuning run. The nice thing is, after you're done, the model itself will be in your dashboard as part of your models. So here, let's go to, for example, the models in the AiXplain team. And you can see these models that have this little pink symbol next to are fine-tuned models. All right, so I have covered basically everything that you would need right now to use AiXplain. There is, of course, Bellesprit. You can chat with Bellesprit here. You can have we recently just made a new kind of update to Bellesprit, so I would love for you to play around and use Bellesprit yourselves. And right now, I will be moving this over to Noor. Noor, are you there?
Yes. Just give me a second.
Great. Noor is going to walk you through our SDK and how what I have showed you right now is all possible through our SDK. I know that a lot of the developer community would rather open a command line interface and call an SDK rather, or import an SDK rather than using GUI. So we do offer that flexibility as well.
Thank you, Mikdad.
Thank you, Mikdad, for a great presentation.
Thanks,
okay.
Sonam. Thanks, Noor.
Jumping. Yes. Let me just organizing my tabs so I could jump quickly between topics. Okay. I'm gonna try to switch this tab here without disconnecting. Okay. Great. So let's start with AiXplain's SDK documentation. As Miqdad mentioned, that everything you can do on the platform, you can do also on the SDK, but it is more on the more flexible version of the experience, because you have more control over the attributes. And I'll show a little bit more how we can do that. I'm gonna share my screen to start you off. So to explain how we got to AiXplain Docs, which is the official page where you get all your information and documentation about both the studio and how to use the SDK of AiXplain. I will start actually from AiXplain.com. So you would remember this journey, hopefully. If you go to explain.com, and you could see from our website that we have a few tabs at the top. The platform is the comprehensive word that covers the studio, which was covered completely by Miqdad a minute ago. Bellesprit is our agent that we would like you to explore on your own and give us a lot of feedback on. We're evolving that, and we will be releasing it very soon to the public. And then there is the SDK, where we will be jumping right now. So if you land here, you will get to learn how AiXplain categorizes its access points. So on AiXplain, you can create assets using tools, or you can use assets that have been created by other users or other companies and suppliers. These assets are models like the ones that you saw in Discover. They're pipelines that the ones like the one that Miqdad just built. We also enable now building agents, and you can have assets like data and metrics and files, which are used as support assets to our tools. Our tools just below assets are reflected in Studio. We have Discover for the marketplace, Design for pipeline, Benchmark, Fine Tune. We also have this auto mode tool that we will be talking about very soon. It's a very interesting tool that allows models to select the best version for your query on the fly. In case there's a lot of models that are doing the same thing, you're not sure which one is the best one. This model, this auto mode model, it can be trained to do that selection for you on the fly. And then finally, Bellesprit. If you could look at API references, you could see that we're supporting our SDK in two languages, Python and Swift. We also have two other ways besides Python and Swift languages to integrate with AiXplain, which are API requests, as well as JavaScript code snippets that you saw in the studio under the integrations tab of models. Here we're covering a few information about our credit system, how teams work, and how you can contribute to AiXplain and the SDK and the community of AiXplain. At the top, we have our GitHub repository. Please visit this for a little bit more technical details on how things are built and examples that are built with by our team and community. And join Discord to actually meet our team and to ask questions, pose ideas, brainstorm with other team members. Okay, I'm going to go to the Python version. I hope people here are familiar with this language, but again, as I mentioned, there's other ways to call AiXplain in points beside Python. From the beginning, there's the setup. AiXplain had made it its mission to slim the number of line codes that you have to do in order to get your AI-powered application off the ground. We have a lot of intelligent people that just worked on abstracting all the complexities away without taking your flexibility and control. So everything, all the advanced feature can still be accessed, but you don't have to write a lot of code to get to that. So you start by installing AiXplain library, and then you add your API key. Your API key can be generated from Studio, so I'll take you through this. Yes, is there a hand? Oh.
Sonam just shared the Discord link.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get your API key from the platform. If you go here, this is my team. It's just a very fresh team. It doesn't yet in it. If I go under team settings, integrations, then I can generate keys here and access keys if I had one. I'm going to generate one quickly. I'm going to call it testing, and I want it to be active only for 30 days. This is the creation process. You just need to copy this. There's a note that you will not be able to access this point for security reasons again, so please copy it and save it in a secure place. And that's all. Once you're done, this key is here. You can delete it whenever you want. If you think you're done with it, or you don't want that key to be active anymore, if you had shared it with friends and you don't want that to be active, you can delete it. Be aware that this API key will be every time you're calling it, it will withdraw from your credits that live in your wallet. Now in this team I have 0 credits, but if I switch to another team, this is my personal team, I have, for example, 5 credits, and my API, my keys will be withdrawing from my credit every time I do a call. Okay, so back to here. We had the library installed, we had our API key inserted, and then you're just ready to integrate something into your application. These are 3 great examples of how you can integrate a text generation model, which is a large language model, an image generation model like that, Stability AI, the models from Stability AI, and speech synthesis as yet another example that was used in Miqdad's demo. I would just like to point quickly to a few things here. What you really need to search in through the SDK is one way to get to these models. My preferred way is to actually go to Discover, do the visual browsing, searching and filtering. But search itself can be also done through the platform through these lines. But let's assume you also preferred the Discover version, and you already had copied your integration code. So to remind you, this is where you would get your integration code. If you had come here, tried this model as you've seen in the demo, and you enjoyed the experience, then you go to the API integration code and you choose your language and copy that code. This is the code that we will use to activate your application with AI. So to run this code, all you need to do is really call this model call this model by its ID that's already embedded in the snippet code, and then run it with your own query. In text generation model takes text, and it has a lot of other optional fields that you can set. I'd like to point that quickly to you here. So here is the ID of the model. This is unique for each AiXplain model. And this is the required input, the one that is highlighted, and everything else that is grayed out or commented is an optional parameter that you can set or ignore. If you copy this code and you know how to, and you just paste it with with your API key, then you already have something going on. You will have a model that is running. Similarly, in the same experience, you can also have your pipelines integrated into your app. So I'll show you a real example of how I integrated things by going to Ecolab, my favorite environment for coding quickly. So here I have a simple collab that I started for you. If you see at the top, I installed AiXplain, and then I inserted I'm going to remove this for now, and I inserted my API key, and this is all I need. This is the code that I just went to the platform and copied. So if I was going to use GPT-3, I can actually copy that particular model here. And then you can see here, that's the model. I can add these variables or not. When I run it, I just need now to, sorry. Let me do that here so I don't confuse the naming. When I run it, everything is going to be stored in the results, and then you can also print the results and see how that looks like. To give you an overview of how the results look like, I will run this quickly. What is the color of the sky? Let's see, this is a GPT-3 model, and let me run my first lines of code. I'm going to use that today. I don't need this. So I'm installing the library, and then so it's downloading the packages. Shouldn't take time. It's not a very huge library. After downloading the library, I will move on into inserting my API key. I will do that. Just give me a second. Okay, run this one, and then I can run my model. So I divide them. I find it's easier to always have the import and my keys separately on a separate run, but really you can all have them in one piece. And then once I run the model and it's run, it gives me the success check here. I can print the code and see what was the outputs. You can see here that I get the output under the data variable, and I also get a lot of beautiful information, like how many credits did I consume, what was the runtime, and how many tokens did I insert, and how many tokens did I receive, and so forth. And this is just the total tokens and the success status. With some models provide you even with larger output. I'll show you one example of a model that can run with a larger output. So this model in particular is a pipeline. So it's more complex. It does English text to speech audio. So it converts text to audio and translates. And you could see here that there's a lot of output coming here. The main thing that we would be interested in is the response that is part of the data. This is the part that you can actually download. It's a file and it will contain the audio file. So quick overview of just running a pipeline or a model, same way. The results are in a JSON that you can expand and get all the pieces extracted. I'd like to point you out to two more things quickly. I encourage you to explore agents. Agents is our newest addition to the platform. How to create agent is a few steps. So you only need to figure out what are the models that you're interested in plugging in, and what is the main large language model that you want to run this agent with. So here I chose, for example, two different models, a speech synthesis one and an NER one, which is named entity recognition. This one extracts keywords from text. And once I created them, I can just plug them into my agents. I'm going to skip all over the details because I don't really need all that. This is the only code you need to create an agent. You need to give it a name. You need to mention the tools that we just defined and a description, and decide which large language model you're interested in. This is the ID I copied from Discover for GPT-4o. And then once you run it, you will get information on a response from the agent on what is, for example, sorry, this is the dictionary, this is the description of it, but once you run it, you can insert any query and it will take it through both one or three or maybe a combination of these different models, depending on what is required. If you have questions, happy to answer those. This is a quick overview. I think I covered the most interesting topics. The only one thing that I wanted to point out at the very end is when you start with your AiXplain journey, you will get free credits. But once you run out of credit, I encourage you to go to Studio. This is where you will be adding a little bit more. Adding credits on AiXplain is quite easy. You just need to mention how many you need and then add your card. And every credit on AiXplain is for $1, and one credit takes you a long way. So by default, you get 5 credits as a new user, and it will really allow you to test almost all the models on AiXplain before you need to add more. That's all from my end. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Noor. Did anybody have any questions?
Yes, Muskan, check if students have questions on the YouTube, just check. From organizing team also you can ask the question. Muskan, are you able to hear me?
So I'm going through the YouTube chat. I don't see any questions at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, there are no questions on the YouTube.
There is somebody asking. How to start on the website? Not sure. Okay, so Muzammil has a question asking how many credits we will get. Once you sign up, you will get $5 worth of credit, and that will take you a long way, as Noor mentioned.
So now we will provide the participants with a few collabs of existing use cases so they can start. So they didn't have to start from scratch.
Perfect.
At least one for 2 models, 3 models, and one for agents.
Okay. And yeah, we can share it with the in the email, and Aslam can share it, or I'm gonna create like a hackathon thing on Discord so participants can join in, and we can share the resources there as well.
Amazing. Yeah.
So from faculty member, anyone wants to faculty coordinator? Anyone of you wants to ask the question?
I have a question. Like, depending upon the
Yes.
credits that you said that the students will be getting, if students need more credit, then what they have to do is they have to buy it. But I think buying is an option which the students won't take. So they won't get to explore more models. What I suggest is if you can increase the credits that are offered to our students, it'll be great.
Um, I think
Great.
usually I mean we have we've run a few hackathons before, so we have an understanding of the number of credits that are needed, and we'll provide sufficient credits for sure.
Thank you, Noor.
We can coordinate with the organizers with regards to the usage of the platform.
Yes, thank you.
I think one thing at the very end that I would like to point out, whether you're using Studio or you're using the SDK, one thing that we didn't have to cover is deployment. How do you deploy your model, pipeline, agent to Explain's platform? And that's because deployment on Explain is as easy as saving the asset. If you save it, we auto deploy it, and deployment means it's available to you and to anyone in your network all the time on the cloud. So you don't have to think of hosting it. You don't have to think of which server should I put my model on or asset on. And that is one of the greatest advantage of working with a platform that is doing end to end.
Muskan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So, is there any question?
Sir, one question was there that the Bell Esprit was facing some internal issue from the past 3 days. So the students were asking that can they use it now? Like, is it available?
Very great question. As I mentioned, Bella Spree is still in testing phase. We released it for like early testings, so sometimes we get a bit of a downtime. I will check. Let me quickly see if I can do that for you now.
I think if you have, Muskan, if you have the screenshot of that problem, then you can share that.
Yeah, sir, I am having the screenshot. I am sharing with you.
Okay,
Personally.
share.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mohammed will share the screenshot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ahmed, sir, I have shared with you on WhatsApp. Please check.
You can share directly here.
So this problem has been solved. Please try again. But one thing to note, sometimes we have a capacity issue, like we have several calls happening at the same time, and this is where the LSP could send a message that is currently having an internal error and cannot respond. We're definitely working on this, but that means that if you leave it, Elizabeth, you can come back to it and should be working. but we're working on solving this issue. Thank you for reporting, though. It's super crucial that we have your feedback all the time.
Thanks. So, is there any?
So there's
Yes.
one more question on YouTube. Someone is asking that some of the models require more credits, like the video generation one, which requires 3 credit minutes. So what if they want to create a video generator?
Again, I think the logistics we will be able to cover with the admins of the hackathon. We should be able to come up with the right number. The 5 credits is what we give our registered users by default. But for the hackathon, we probably will come up with a better estimation.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
If you are not having more question, then we can proceed for the vote of thanks.
Dr. Ahmed.
Yes, yes.
I just want to know whether I think the students, they had a question about the learning videos and how much time it takes to learn and then get the certification. So are we clear on that? Did you ask this question to Sonam and AiXplain team, or we are still not clear? So Sonam, I think let me repeat this question. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. And I think Noor is about to answer your certification question, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, great news. So I think just let me repeat the question. The question was the availability of the video learning material publicly, number one. Number two, how much time does it take, to cover end-to-end learning in terms of the number of hours, so that they can divide those number of hours in days and weeks and plan their learning? And then about the certification process.
Right. Can I just to answer you in the most accurate way, I'd like to understand the background of the students. Do they have an AI ML background, or are they software engineers? What is or is it mixed?
It's a mix. It's a mix.
It's a mixture. So we're expecting that some students do not have any background in AI, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Because our certification program is divided into 2 sections, one that goes to an intro to AI and one that just covers the platform usage. So I'm expecting with this insight that you shared with me, you need probably the 2 parts. Miqdad is responsible for the certification program, can talk more about this. I would probably also would like to maybe at a follow-up call understand whether you can provide this information or directly from the students, if they would leaning towards using Studio or SDK more, because we can provide support on both ways. Whatever they need more material, we can provide that.
So just to also add more context about the certification program, we are currently rolling it out onto our online learning platform for people to take it self-serve. This will be happening during the time of the hackathon. So it's not something that we can offer as a prerequisite, but once it rolls out, it's expected to roll out by the end of September, hopefully. We can encourage everybody, all the participants, to get certified. In terms of learning material, now the platform itself is very, very easy to use, as you've we've walked you through the entirety of the platform and the SDK within this hour. We have all the learning materials in our docs page. So we have knowledge-based articles that kind of highlight certain capabilities and how to kind of articles of the platform. And we do have YouTube tutorials as well that can assist in terms of learning material. In terms of a direct channel of communication that you can have with the AiXplain team, we highly encourage you to join our Discord server. That's where we can answer any questions that you may have about using the platform, any ideas we can support with. Also bug reports if you're facing any issues or you encounter any problems that we can address. And now, if we're talking about getting that certification, hopefully it will be aligned with the time of the hackathon, where as participants can take the hackathon during, can take the certification during the hackathon.
With that question, can we provide any of the video materials through the YouTube channel? They're already on YouTube. I'm not sure if we can put them as unlisted for the hackathon.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we can do that, definitely.
So it's like they will not be certified immediately, but they can see all the material, and then once the certification is ready, they can take that part.
Thank you, Mikdad. Thank you, Noor. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, Muskan, just go through.
For the vote of thanks.
Yes, Muskan, you can proceed for with the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Okay. So on behalf entire
Please turn on
organization,
your video.
yes, sir.
You are on mute. Unmute.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yes, yes.
On behalf of the entire organizing committee of the AiCodeX Hackathon, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the AiXplain team for taking the time to conduct today's orientation and for guiding us through your platform. Your insights and expertise have provided us with a clear understanding of how we can use your powerful tools for our projects. We would also like to thank Dr. Aslam Khan, Chairman of MS Abu College of Engineering, Professor Arshi Khan, our single point of contact for hackathon, Professor Mohammad Ahmed Sheikh Sir, HOD of the Computer Engineering Department, and once again, thank you for your time, guidance, and for being an integral part of this event's success. We truly appreciate the effort you put in ensuring we have all the necessary resources and knowledge to embark on this exciting journey. Your continued support is invaluable, and we look forward to working closely with AI Explain as we progress through this hackathon. Also, the students who have joined the YouTube live, thank you so much for joining and knowing about it all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Muskan. Thank you for the whole team
You're
and the
welcome.
participants. Yeah, we
Thank
are
you.
eager to see what solutions and projects people build. Please join Discord and have any queries and questions if you have. Please share it with us. Any feedback. And yeah, we will be reachable on Discord. And Aslam and the rest of the team have our email as well, so you can reach out via email too.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Milda sir, Sonam, and Noor.
Thank you so much. Take care.